On the night of August 5, 2022, hundreds of teenagers gathered near Prosser Family Campground outside Truckee, California. Estimates ranged between 200 and 300 attendees. It was described as a senior farewell party. Alcohol was present. There was no formal supervision. 16-year-old Keely Rodney attended. She had graduated high school early. Friends described her as intelligent and independent. She drove herself to the party in her silver 2013 Honda CR-V around 12:30 a.m. on August 6th. She sent her mother a text message she would be leaving in about 45 minutes. That is the final confirmed communication from her phone. No verified footage has surfaced publicly showing her leaving the party. Her vehicle disappeared with her. By morning, Keely had not returned home. She was reported missing on August 6th. Because she was 16, the case was immediately treated with urgency. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office, Placer County Sheriff's Office, FBI, California Highway Patrol, and volunteer search groups mobilized quickly. Within days, thousands of acres were searched by air, land, and water. Searchers combed forest trails. Drones scanned terrain. Divers checked nearby bodies of water. Yet her vehicle was not located. That detail matters, because in missing teen cases involving driving the vehicle is often the primary lead.
Good afternoon. I'm Angela Musalam, Public Information Officer with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. I'm joined by our local, state, and federal agencies today as we continue Search Day 7 for Kylie Rodney. To date, we've dedicated over 9,000 man-hours for the search for Kylie.
Authorities reported searching more than 16,000 acres. Prosser Creek Reservoir was included in early search efforts. Sonar scans were reportedly conducted. Shorelines were checked. But underwater search operations are not simple grid lines on a map. Sonar interpretation depends on angle, sediment, water clarity, and operator judgment. Lakes contain debris, rocks, logs, scrap metal, creating visual noise. Search coverage is never absolute. 16 days passed without discovery. Public pressure increased. On August 21st, a volunteer dive team located Keely's Honda CR-V submerged in Prosser Creek Reservoir. The vehicle was found approximately 55 feet from shore in roughly 14 feet of water. It was inverted. Recovery operations involved multiple agencies, including sheriff deputies and FBI personnel. Inside the vehicle was Keely's body. According to the coroner's incident documentation, she was located in the rear cargo compartment area of the SUV. The discovery immediately shifted the case from missing person to recovery investigation. Vehicles that enter water do not behave intuitively. When a front-engine SUV submerges, weight distribution can cause forward pitching. As water fills the cabin unevenly, buoyancy shifts. In shallow environments, rollover is common. An inverted vehicle complicates escape. Orientation becomes disorienting. Pressure differences prevent doors from opening until water levels equalize. In darkness, panic accelerates oxygen depletion. Even sober adults struggle in submerged vehicle scenarios. The terrain near the campground includes unlit access roads and sloping approaches toward water. If impaired, even slightly, depth perception and steering correction degrade significantly. The Nevada County coroner conducted an autopsy. Key findings: the decedent was recovered from an inverted submerged vehicle. Post-mortem changes were consistent with prolonged water submersion. No external or internal evidence of significant traumatic injury was identified. No findings consistent with assault were documented. The official cause of death: drowning. Manner of death: accidental. That classification is based on forensic evidence, not assumption. Post-mortem toxicology detected ethanol in liver tissue. However, the report explicitly cautions that ethanol can be produced during decomposition in submerged remains. Inactive THC metabolite was also detected. This is not equivalent to a roadside BAC result. Post-mortem toxicology is interpretive, not definitive, but it aligns with witness statements describing alcohol consumption at the party. The procedural conclusion: an impaired teen likely drove into the reservoir and was unable to escape. No evidence of third-party involvement was documented in official findings. Why was the vehicle missed? This became the central public question. The car was not directly at the shoreline. It sat offshore in water that can appear shallow but contains murky sediment layers. Underwater searches rely on sonar sweep patterns, diver grid accuracy, visibility conditions, interpretation of ambiguous returns. Even professional teams miss submerged vehicles regularly in large lakes. This is a documented pattern nationwide. Missing it does not automatically imply concealment or corruption. It may reflect operational limitations. When a case feels settled, the details matter more than ever. Let's separate what we know from what we don't. We know the last confirmed communication was at 12:30 a.m. After that silence, we know alcohol was present at the party that night. We know the vehicle was later recovered, submerged in the reservoir. We know there was no evidence of violence, and officially, the ruling was accidental drowning. Those are the confirmed facts. But here's what we don't have. We don't have a verified eyewitness who saw her leave. We don't have clear footage of the vehicle entering the shoreline. We don't know the exact driver condition at the moment of impact. And we don't fully understand why initial searches did not locate the vehicle. The evidence supports an accident, but not every question has a timestamp. And in cases like this, the space between what we know and what we don't know is where uncertainty lives. Despite official findings, this case refuses to rest quietly in the public imagination. Why? Accidents are supposed to bring closure, but sometimes they don't. And when that happens, the discomfort isn't always about the evidence, it's about psychology. When a case ends in violence, the mind finds a target, a suspect, a motive, an explanation. But when a case ends in accident, there is no villain, no intent, no one to blame, and the human brain struggles with that. We are wired to search for patterns, to assign cause, to believe that outcomes, especially tragic ones, must have meaning. An accident feels random, and randomness feels unsafe. If something terrible can happen without warning, then it could happen to anyone, including us. There's also something called proportionality bias. It's the belief that big events must have big causes. A sudden high-profile death feels too significant to be explained by a moment of misjudgment. So the mind keeps looking for complexity, looking for something more. Then the internet enters the equation. Thousands of voices analyzing fragments, speculating, replaying footage, freezing frames, reconstructing seconds. And when information is limited, Imagination fills the gaps, not because people are malicious, but because uncertainty is uncomfortable. There's another factor: control. If a crime happened, there's something to guard against. If there was foul play, there's a lesson to learn. But if it was an accident, then sometimes the only lesson is fragility, and that's harder to accept. This doesn't mean questions shouldn't be asked, but it's important to recognize the difference between unresolved evidence and unresolved emotion, because sometimes the case is closed, but the feeling isn't. And that tension between official explanation and emotional discomfort is where speculation grows. An accident can be real and still feel unsatisfying. If you appreciate thoughtful, evidence-based case analysis, consider subscribing.